Hey everyone, today's Halloween episode is about other little creepy crawlies. And again, we have my friend Marshall here to tell us about some of the little critters that he brought with him. So, obviously with spiders and stuff, that was pretty obvious about why they're associated with them. With creepy crawlies or any other small little arthropod or just any little thing that isn't necessarily considered, that's an invertebrate essentially, they usually just get associated with the holiday because they're small, just kind of like the spiders, that they have a lot of legs, they don't look like people, and in recent years it's mostly to do with the onset of the Harry Potter popularity, like things and potions and stuff like that, like beetle eyes and weird stuff like that. So, to talk a little bit about how cool these little things actually can be, Marshall's here to tell us a little bit about some things that he brought. So, what do we have here?
So this is the Aegigus, also known as the African giant millipede.
These things are absolutely my favorite invertebrate. These things are so cool. So what can you tell us about these things other than that they clearly like to crawl all over you?
So they're a semi-fossorial species, so they dig shallow burrows.
Okay.
Purely vegetarian diet. Very, very docile creatures, super chill, easy to handle. I would even put them at a beginner's rate for husbandry.
Okay.
The only defense mechanisms that they have is rolling up in a tight coiled ball. It's kind of similar to an armadillo. And they also secrete a kind of foul-smelling liquid if they feel really threatened.
So almost kind of like must, or like with king snakes and milk snakes and that kind of thing.
Exactly.
And she come back up. Yep, there she is.
Hey, Chevy.
So when people think about millipedes, so immediately what a lot of people think of is centipedes, the venomous invertebrate that's honestly I'd rather take a bite from 90% of any spider versus a centipede.
Hands down.
So what is the difference between a centipede and a millipede, starting with obvious and going down?
So the millipede does not have the adaptable legs that have been essentially turned into a pair of functional fangs, so they don't necessarily bite or inject venom. They just have standard chewing mandibles.
Okay.
And she's going down my back.
You want to get her? Or?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, come on. And then obviously more legs, entirely different species, genus, family, all of that.
Exactly.
Centipedes are carnivorous, they're venomous. These guys, vegetarians.
Vegetarians, absolutely.
Okay, so these are the giant African millipedes, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so where in Africa are these little joyous ones found?
Around the Tanzania region.
Okay, cool. So for any of you fish guys out there, you know what Lake Tanganyika is. It's the Rift Valley down kind of in southern central Africa. They're really cool. And okay, you're just going to hold on to me.
So, she likes you.
I'm okay with that. I would absolutely hold on to you forever. So when you said that there are beginners as far as husbandry goes, so what would a typical setup be for a mature centipede, or even probably you would get them small little guys? What would a typical setup be for something like this if this was a pet you decided you wanted to have?
I would say for one this size, I'd say maybe more like a very shallow, large Tupperware or even a 20-gallon tank.
Okay.
I want to say about 5 to 6 inches of substrate so that they can make their shallow burrows. Plenty of hides, cork bark to hide in. And yeah, you can feed them anything like collard greens, mustard greens, things like that.
So for instance, if somebody had a bearded dragon and they decided they wanted to do this, when they bought salad at the reptile store for them, they would just take a few pinches of that and they would put it in the enclosure for them?
Yeah.
And what do we have here? This is something I was not expecting you to bring.
Good old-fashioned garden snails.
All right, cool. So it's a snail. So snip snails, puppy dog tails, and all that jazz. So what type of snails are these?
I believe they're just your run-of-the-mill garden snails, possibly Europeans. I'm not entirely sure. My wife picked these up from a client. So.
Okay, well that's okay. So, I mean, so these are the things that you immediately think of when you have like a garden or a growing vegetable garden. You immediately think of them as a pest, right?
Exactly.
So I mean, clearly they're not exactly a pest. So what exactly, so they were probably brought here from somewhere overseas, right? Probably as like a Klingeron.
Most likely, yeah.
Okay, so if you want to keep these type of guys as a pet, so you're going to be feeding them what, like greens and lettuce and stuff like that too?
Mm-hmm. Yep, you can even throw in some dandelion as well.
Okay, cool. And so probably, like with this species, probably this little one over here is probably about as big as they get.
Most likely, yeah.
Now, so are they like a handleable thing? Is that something you really want to have them out a lot, or?
Yeah, you can absolutely handle them. If you don't mind getting slimed on a little bit.
Okay, there you go.
The best thing that you can do is kind of wet your hand a little bit with like a little bit of water. Take a standard mister. But yeah, you don't want to have a dry hand because the salt will cause them to dry up.
There. Okay, cool. So these are different than, like, say, the aquatic snails that you see at, like, aquariums and stuff. You wouldn't want to put them in an aquarium because they would drown, correct?
Exactly. So for your substrate, you kind of want to go for like a brownie batter kind of consistency. So not swamped, but not too terribly dry.
Okay, so for people who out there keep reptiles, probably a little bit more damp than you normally would for like a lot of your more tropical species. So it's plenty of humidity, a little bit wet.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
Exactly.
So when we talked a little bit about them kind of like being pests, so a lot of these species can be technically invasive.
Yes.
Like, is there any sort of like illegality or something like that? Like a lot of places you can't have scorpions and tarantulas because they're theoretically harmful to people, or like for boating, like the zebra mussels and like marinas and stuff like that. Are there any types of snails that are illegal, or specific arthropods in general that you probably couldn't have?
Yeah, so the giant African snail is considered illegal because it is an invasive species. They get to be huge. Like, I'd say some can range from the size of my hand to even the size of this container.
Holy moly, that's insane. So, that's crazy. All right, well, those things are just so cool, and I really wasn't expecting you to bring something like that. When it comes to other little critters like this, is the Denver Arachnid Club a good place to go to for information about millipedes, centipedes, even garden snails like this?
So we do have what we call Whatever Wednesday.
Okay.
So that's the day that we can post about all our other critter endeavors, be it snails, other arthropods, even including reptiles.
Interesting. Okay, cool. So there will be a good place to kind of reach out to people if you're more interested in, like, hey, does anybody keep X species, and then go from there?
Absolutely, yes, 100%. Because the Arachnid Club, while it's specifically targeted for arachnids, most keepers tend to have other animals as well.
A little bit more generalist, or just kind of branching out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Exactly.
Cool. Well, as you guys probably know, I'm absolutely guilty of that too. So cool. I really want to thank you so much for coming out. This is really cool to see all these crazy little critters, and just to show, you know, they're not gross, they're not creepy, not even scary, really. They're really cool little intricate parts of the ecosystem in general, and without them, we wouldn't really be here either, including snails.
Exactly.
Cool. So thank you again so much, Marshall.
Absolutely, it's been a pleasure.
All right. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Have any questions, comments, let me know down below. Hit me up, jzreptilesgmail.com, Facebook, Instagram, all of that. Hope you guys have a great, happy, safe Halloween, and we'll check you next time.